Hey, everybody, welcome back to another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones, and today's topic is once again Carolina football. What's interesting in the schedule that has drawn a lot of criticism from Mac Brown and others, and I can understand why he wasn't thrilled because the last two games are at Clemson and at NC State. Not an ideal way to close the season for anybody. However, I do think there's a part of this schedule that the Tar Heels can take advantage of, and they are now embarking on that stretch. But before I get into that, quick reminder, this show is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play fantasy sports. We'll have a note from Jacob about Underdog Fantasy coming up a little bit later in this show. But check this out. Now with game number one out of the way, neutral site game in Charlotte, all 7 of Carolina's home games are going to take place in the next 10 weeks. And that includes a week, an open date in there. So the Tar Heels have 2 road games in the next 10 weeks. The third road game from now will occur the week before Thanksgiving, the Saturday before Thanksgiving. So over the next 10 weeks, Carolina's road games are at Pittsburgh at the end of this month and at Georgia Tech at the end of October. In between, 7 home games. The entire home schedule will be played. I haven't looked, but I doubt there are very few teams across the country that have this kind of schedule. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dive into the schedule itself very quickly and what the opportunities are and how Carolina can take advantage of this. But before I do that, let's go ahead and hear a word from our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Remember, guys, easiest place to play fantasy sports.
I'm very excited to announce our new partnership with Underdog Fantasy. We decided to partner with Underdog because it's the easiest place to play fantasy sports and is also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. Now, Underdog Fantasy has a lot to offer, including their Pick'em game. And in Pick'em, you pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. It's so easy to play. Just pick 2 to 5 stats of your favorite players and choose whether they'll go higher or lower. You can 20x your money by going 5 for 5. They also have a Best Ball Mania. If you think you know football, definitely need to check this one out. This year's Best Ball Mania has $15 million in total prizes up for grabs, with the winner taking home $3 million. So sign up today with promo code HEAL and get your first deposit doubled by up to $100. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with promo code HEAL, HEEL, to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. You must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. And if you are concerned with your play, call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Back to the show.
All right. So this schedule, which I've talked about a little bit, I did a series of pods a couple weeks ago, breaking the schedule for the season into 3 parts. And the middle part was sort of what's coming up here, where they have, after Pittsburgh, they have a series of 6, that's 5 out of 6 games at home, only 1 road game over a span of 7 weeks because they're open the end of the month. It would be, I guess it's the last Saturday of the month, September 30th, because they play at Pittsburgh on September 23rd. But what they've got is App State this weekend. Should be ready to go. Be a full house. They got Minnesota, club to beat Nebraska in the opener. They have a game they should win this weekend. Gophers should come in 2-0. Club that won 9 games in the Big Ten, and a Big Ten team last year, won 9 games. Expected to be in the 8-9 win range again this year. Solid program, physical team. And then the game at Pitt. And then you've got 3 straight home games after the open date: Syracuse, Miami, and Virginia. To go to Georgia Tech, come home, play Campbell, and then Duke before those last 2. This is a tremendous opportunity because if you look at the schedule before the season started, and you highlighted with a yellow highlighter the danger spots. The opener was one of those danger spots where a lot of people thought, that's probably a 50-50 game. Going up to Pittsburgh, another one of those danger spots. To be frank, the next serious danger spot would be at Clemson. So and I'm not saying they're a lock to win these other games. I do think App could give them issues. Minnesota could give them trouble. Miami can give them trouble. It'll be interesting to see what Syracuse is. What is Georgia Tech when they go to Atlanta? Tar Heels have lost 2 in a row to the Yellow Jackets. We will find out a little bit more about what Duke's about, especially a Duke team that will be much improved by November. So there are losable games in there, but I'm talking serious danger spots where people wouldn't be surprised if the Tar Heels lose. There's one of those between now and Clemson. There's one of those over the next 10 weeks. So the Tar Heels are staring, if you take a broad picture view, which they're not doing, but it's okay for us to do it, they're staring at an opportunity to really make something special happen here. Now, I'm not getting way ahead of things here. I'm just outlining. It's fun to look ahead. Sometimes it's low-hanging fruit to look ahead and just kind of ponder, but that's what we do as sports fans. That's what we do as sports media. Everybody's doing that except the players and the coaches, and maybe some of them might sneak a peek every once in a while as well. Of course, not taking care of business, none of this matters. But I do think that this is a fascinating part of the schedule that should get a little bit more attention, because as challenging as the back end is, and as much attention as Matt got when he made those comments back in the spring, and reiterate a little bit here in August, this past August, not talked about enough is the stretch that they're now in. 2 true road games in 10 weeks. It was 90 degrees today. They're going to have 2 road, their third road game from now into the season. It could be really cold. Leaves are going to be gone by then. Drake May will or won't be a high Heisman contender. We could be talking about Drake being a lock for New York when they head to Clemson, and maybe more with this team. So they have a tremendous opportunity to start this week against App State. 7 out of the next 9 games over a 10-week span are at home. This, I think, will define this team's season up to Clemson, if not maybe perhaps more than those last 2 games, because those last 2 games will only be hugely important from a national perspective if they take care of business here over the next 10 weeks, and the opportunity is absolutely there. Let us know what you think. What do you think the record's going to be in these 9 games over the next 10 weeks? 7 at home, 2 on the road. Tell us what you think it's going to be. I have some thoughts. I want to know what you think. Our staff wants to know what you think. And don't just put it on Twitter. Go ahead and sign up, become a premium member of our site, just $8.33 a month. That's a drive-through number. And you can go ahead and engage in a healthy conversation with people who care as much about the Tar Heels as you do. They're on our board. They're on the premium part of the board, not the free part of the board. If you like this podcast, go ahead and click like. If you think the Tar Heels are going to do well in this stretch of games, click like as well. Make sure you share the pod with your Carolina friends. Let them know we're here if they don't know that we're here. And thanks again to Underdog Fantasy. Remember, guys, use the promo code HEAL, HEEL, and you get your deposit doubled up to $100. I'm AJ, and I'll see you tomorrow.